An enticing question I have heard heard again and again regarding creation. Is creation evil? Because when people think about creation, they can only usually refer to it as God or the so called omnipotent, omnipresent being that, they heard of only from books. But most likely they have not experienced anything about. Because when you speak about religion and, more importantly, spirituality, one has to have certain kinds of experiences because otherwise those concepts are nothing else but just stories. Yes, you read books that tell you how to be, how to exist, how to behave. See, this is the same nonsense that even your parents have been telling you. If you look anywhere in the world from one part to another, it's usually been the culture that has been planted into your mind by your parents ever since you were young. And generation after generation, each and every pair of parents drilled in their children's minds the same nonsense that they have attached to themselves to and turned into a culture. Some people ended up, in ignorance. The majority of people ended up thinking that they are not worthy of anything. So, obviously, when you have people thinking like this, religion will be altered to function in a different way. And everything that's born into ignorance or kept enough in it becomes an engine that supports ignorance as well. So, irrespective of how cutesy religions look in their books, when you look at how they have been made use of, honestly, you don't find anything else but a means for control, a means to fight over people's minds and people's bodies. Because the majority of people will talk to you about gods and angels and the such as if they know them in person, but they haven't experienced shite about that. They haven't experienced anything about those. And religions can be and spirituality can be very dangerous in society because, there is a big problem. You have idiots who live, who exist in society. The big problem with these people is that they have an unhinged imagination. Unlike people who are wise, people who have had experiences through their life, not just that stood and did nothing with their life. Those people have boundaries when it comes to their imagination, when it comes to their minds. Yes, they don't take just everything in their mind, they won't believe anything also. And at the same time, if their imagination comes up with certain things, they also don't take almost, not all of it will they take into account. One has to understand the big problem in society is that we humans have designed in ignorance a system which I call the mental comfort. The mental comfort is especially valuable for psychopaths, for narcissists, and people who are obsessed with the survival of either their self and or their physical body. Because to these people, if something makes them feel at least uncomfortable, they will react in the most horrible ways, in the most animalistic ways. But they themselves will be the same ones who will promote that everyone else acts as a Gentile, right? As the Zionists call people, as someone who is not supposed and not allowed to do anything in return. Only others can do them everything they want, but they are not allowed to do anything in return. And they impose this again and again until those people simply break and embrace their so called imposed reality as the only reality that there can be, right? This is the way of a lot of people. They don't have any spine, they don't have any conscience. If they feel healthy, if they feel good in their own emotions, not their physical body, if they feel good in their emotions, they're all right. Yes, they might even be reasoned with. But the moment they feel threatened, they become a threat to society themselves. Yes, and a very dangerous one nonetheless. Creation, when we look at it, it is the entirety of what we see nowadays, what we feel, and obviously beyond that which is what we perceive. It is the sum of everything that we can perceive with our senses, and obviously everything that is beyond. Yes? Because in the end, we only are said, as per science specifications, we are said to have the capability to see only 0.035% of the visual light spectrum, which kind of makes us pretty blind to the cosmos. Yet somehow we are convinced, or well, the ignorants are fully convinced, that whatever they perceive through their senses is the only thing that there can be. Whatever they know also, well, definitely that is the only one that there can be. That is why it makes these people kind of dangerous to society. Yes? Because those people, in their convictions, they are never interested, nor are they willing, yes, to accept other standpoints. All communication that they can go through is nothing else but them trying to show others how entrenched they are in their own ability to discern. And their ability to discern is simply inexistent. They accept the first idea that makes them comfortable, and obviously that is the only thing that they will accept. You pull them out of their comfort, they will lash out. Yes, they are technically fanatics. If they don't like something, they will lash out. Our entire history has been like this. You believe in something else, you be exterminated. Someone looks slightly different than you, they be exterminated. Yes? When you look even in religious textbooks, some also reflect this. Because those religious books were designed in times thousands of years ago, when we were still in the midst of the ignorance that still influences us today. Yes, most of those books, not only have they not been adjusted to more modern times at all, but the big problem is either they have been toyed around with to suit egotistical minds and the survival of their ego, or simply they have been left there the way they were because they were initially created to already fit people's egos. Because in a sick society, if you want to rule over ignorance, just make them feel brave, even if they are cowards. Make them feel strong, even if they are weak. Make them feel accepted and loved by society for what they are, even if they are nothing else but fucked up deviants. Yes? This is how a sick society recruits its people, because it only needs anyone who's by design, by nature, a theater of consciousness. Yes, not a human being, but a theater, a pamphlet of what it means to be a human being. Because those beings not only do accept the ritualistic humiliations of society each and every day, they also embrace that. They also relish in it. Yes, they even bow down to it. Yes, they goon for it. Let's use a more modern word. Yes, so this is the big problem in society. When people become comfortable with their ignorance, with their pains and suffering, I don't think their point of view should ever be taken into account as relevant. Because people who live like that will gladly give up on anything and also anyone in order to keep preserving their own beliefs. Yes? It doesn't matter in the end whether someone is a parent, someone is a child, they will simply give them up if needed, just so that they can preserve the comfort that they have made. A comfort in which they just rehearse the same idiotic ideas again and again. So when we look at creation as a whole, creation is something that has allowed all the layers of consciousness to become active, to become perceivable, to become experiential also. Because if you can perceive something, well, at least you know it's there. You have experienced it. Then you have become, for at least a bit, well, you have become part of it. So now you can no longer doubt yourself. Because in a sick society, self-doubt is very potent. It is very powerful. It is the one of the weapons of the weaklings. Yes? They love making others doubt their own sanity. Because the weaklings, they don't have any sanity. So when they feel that you have one, it is best for them that you doubt your own sanity. Yes, because otherwise you wouldn't be suffering like them. Otherwise, you're just a shining star that reminds them of the responsibilities that they would have to take. Yes? So, creation is neither good nor bad. It is the epitome of all the possibilities that there are in this cosmos. Because silly little religions tell you that creation is a god of love, but just like in a communist society, it will definitely punish everyone that they don't like. Yes? Because in a communist society, just like in a religious environment where there's a lot of ignorance, sufficient ignorance, everything is propelled in such a way to make the individual think that God is speaking only to them and them alone. Everyone else is just irrelevant. Similarly, in communism, everyone is nothing else but a number. They are all but the same thing. They are not allowed to be different. And in this way of thinking, people easily give up their so called stability in the personas that they used to have. And they embrace this egotistical idea that the leaders and society itself is doing everything possible just for them. Yes? Distorted religion beliefs, well, there are nowadays as well. When you look clearly at how things are going in, let's call it the West, in the Zionist world of the West, let's put it like that, Christianity is becoming nothing else but a spectacle. Yes? Great teams of people are employed all the time to make everything about Jesus and Christianity look like a spectacle, like a service. Yes, it's just a very perfidious manipulation where you are presented this idea through false gurus, through very good manipulation tactics, that this Jesus is some kind of all lovable being that does everything possible just for you and only for you. Everyone else is simply irrelevant. Yes, Jesus is not doing anything for those. Jesus and God only exist for you. Yes, this is what this sick society is doing. Because long ago this belief was created and some fuckers simply can't stand it anymore. And, because they deploy quite highly advanced occultism, the whole planet is somewhat suffering because of the idiocy of some people, of the ignorance of some people, their inability to give up thousands of years of pent up frustrations. And, well, every individual is unfortunately carrying the ancestral weight. Yes? And each new generation will slowly and surely find it harder and harder to resist, the others. Yes? Their problems. Because they also are entrenched in the same problems that their ancestors had. And the people nowadays obviously have the same problems, more or less. Ignorance, lack of identification. Yes? Cancel culture wants you to be having no identification so that they themselves, well, the sick society, can give you any identification that it wants. And all identifications of a sick society, what are they? Well, they are nothing else but one thing. Everything is bad about you, you are never good enough, and all sorts of, pulling downs like this. So creation allowed all of these to be experienced, to be lived through. And obviously, everyone will take their own number of lifetimes to experience all the possibilities of life before finally feeling the sensation to become one with creation again. Yes? And putting an end to this traveling through consciousness. It is all nothing else but a spectacle to the mad people and a great unfolding of life for the wise and sensitive. Whatever way people take it into account, it all depends on their own level of awareness. So hopefully this video raised a bit of awareness. You are appreciated. Take care. Enjoy life. And this being said, Ferenjan Board signing out.